Hello listeners, we are your co-hosts Jeanine Bailey and Marie Quigley for the Empower World Coaching and Leadership Podcast. Empower World brings guests who are making a difference to the world to inspire coaches and leaders who lead with mind, heart and soul.
Hello and welcome to this series of podcasts where Jeanine Bailey and I talk about the ICF Core Competencies. And tonight we're going to be looking at Core Competency 5, which is about maintaining presence as coaches. And the definition for that is that we are fully conscious and present with a client, that we employ a style that is open, flexible, grounded, and that we're confident in ourselves, confident in the process of coaching, and confident that the client has all of the answers themselves.
Thank you, Marie, and wonderful to be here with you again to cover these amazing core competencies. And, you know, we do hear coaches that have perhaps done training that they have to tick off these competencies. But actually, when we really embody them, it can create incredible, masterful coaching sessions. We can be really powerful in the way that we serve and support our clients to bring out the best in them. And so this competency, like all the other competencies, is equally important and really powerful if we embody it to its fullest. And so if we don't embody presence, if we come out of presence, potentially it will support our clients to do the same, to come out of presence for themselves and what's coming up for them. And if we're not embodying presence, we may miss those subtle clues and cues that our clients provide us through the words they speak, through maybe even subtle changes in their physiology, or perhaps the color of their skin, or perhaps a glint of emotion. We might miss those things if we are not fully present with our clients. So to embody this competency, it really is about remaining focused, observant, so that, and it's like emptying our mind of trying to rescue the client, trying to come up with the next best question. It's emptying all of that and just staying with our client to be able to support them to be who they really are. When we do this, our clients have the opportunity, because we're sending a message when we're fully present, where we really are sending a message that our clients are naturally creative, resourceful, and whole. And whatever comes up is perfect. And so, again, when we embody this competency, our client is able to express themselves fully if we are truly, truly being grounded, observant, not judgmental. We're judgment-free, and acknowledging our client for what comes up. When the space allows, when the client has completed their processing, that's the opportunity to demonstrate our empathy as coaches, to reflect back what we've noticed, reflect back what we've seen, how our client has shown up in those moments of courage and vulnerability, and also in times of joy and celebrations. So it's a wonderful way of supporting our clients to tap into their inner resourcefulness.
Yeah, beautifully said, Jeanine. And I'm thinking back to a mentoring call I had today where the coach really was focused on the structure of the coaching call. They were focused on the structure of the model that they'd learned in their training school. And actually they'd missed so much about what the client was offering them. They missed the emotional words that the client was using. They missed the fact that the client's body moved in a certain way that was incongruent with what they were saying. They missed what was happening for themselves in the situation, because the process of coaching was they were moving through the model. I could actually see it as they were doing it. And so their presence was not focused on the client. It was focused on the act of coaching. And I think that's a big shift when you notice masterful coaches coaching, is you don't even see the model happening because it's so embedded in the bones of the coach that when it's needed, you bring the model in, but you are focusing on this magnificent human being in front of you, the who of the person, who the person is being, not what they're doing, but their patterns of behavior that they're showing you that maybe, as you mentioned, those minute detail that you wouldn't notice if you were focusing on the model or something else.
Yes.
So,
go ahead. Maybe I came out of...
Yeah, we're in sync and empathy with each other. We're saying the same thing, Jeanine. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Maria. And I totally agree with what you've shared there. It's interesting when we are mentoring because that pattern of our coaches, particularly new coaches, but potentially also more experienced coaches, they're still following a model. You can almost hear it, touch it as they are demonstrating or showcasing their coaching sessions. And it almost feels like it's rushed when there's a model being followed. So again, when we're rushing to try and meet certain criteria of a model, then those opportunities of being really present with our clients and noticing again those clues that listen to the whole person are missed. So again, it's really important we always say, don't we, Marie, that it's going to be far more powerful to slow down, to go faster, actually. Because when we slow down and allow that magnificent coaching session in presence to take place, our clients get to the bottom of what's happening much, much quicker. They're able to dig deeper because we create that space. So being curious.
We've got the lovely cat in the background, being curious.
Thank you, Batman, for agreeing with us here. And so, and now Batman has come in to demonstrate curiosity. And so that's the other thing we must be. And I'm just going to bring Batman into the picture for those who are watching this, so you can see the curious, the curious Batman. So when we are really curious in presence, we will notice those subtleties again that our clients demonstrate. And it could, even be just the subtle shift of an eye movement, moving forward slightly, and perhaps things that we can't even see. We intuit that there is something going on, perhaps emotions that are showing up. So as coaches, being incredibly curious, listening beyond the words, beyond what is here, is going to be able to support you and your client to create magnificent ahas.
It certainly is. So instead of assuming you know what the client is saying, maybe the client will say, it's a huge barrier for me. And you might find yourself saying, okay, so is that something you'd like to work on? But actually you've missed an opportunity because you've assumed something about what the client has said, the barrier. You've maybe made your own take on it. The key is to say, well, what do you even mean by the word barrier? What is barrier to you? What's a metaphor for barrier? What's a barrier like inside your body? It's like this curiosity of a 5-year-old that picks up a pen, I've got a pen in front of me, and sees it for the first time and really wants to smell it, taste it, touch it, get that curious head on, not assuming that this is a pen at all, but using your skills to find out actually what it could be. And amazing things happen when you ask questions about what the client is sharing with you, because they may not even realize what they're sharing until they unpack it. They may not even know what the words they're choosing to use unless you get curious. So if you skip over it because you think you have assumed something, then you're missing out on that presence and for both of you, actually.
I love that metaphor, Marie, of that picking up the pen and getting, as a child, getting super, super curious. And I've got Batman. I must say, for those who haven't got sight, Batman is a cat. And often people think he is a baby, but he's a cat. And I just love how he is sitting here looking at the screen, looking at, where's that voice coming from? That's what I'm making up. He is super curious. So I will adopt his personality when I'm with my coaching clients, being super, super curious about what is coming up for our clients. And so in that way, we're going to be able to support our clients to discover things that they've never realized before, never noticed before, those unconscious ways of being and doing, potentially habits they use with their body. Getting curious about that habit can create great awareness about what's behind it sometimes, maybe often. So,
yeah.
And go ahead, Marie.
We're speaking over each other tonight, but that's absolutely fine, Jeanine. I'm just thinking about another coach that uses the term the thinker for their client. And of course, we know Nancy Klein coined that term, the thinker. But what was happening for her in her coaching sessions when she only thought about the client as the thinker, she was only getting the client to think from the brain's perspective about things. And when she shifted her perspective and got her curiosity about the whole person that the client was, what they thought, what they felt, what they smelled, what they tasted, what they experienced in their body, then it allowed her to become curious in a way that she hadn't before with her clients. So, how you perceive your client, whether they are the thinker or the whole person, makes a difference to the type of questions you're willing to ask them. Because some of the questions we ask when we're in deep curiosity sound a little bit strange outside of the coaching room.
Yes. And yeah, again, a beautiful example of how we can get curious as coaches to support the client to create awareness beyond just the thinking mind, the thoughts, in so many different ways. And when we are in this beautiful state of presence with our clients, it also enables us to tune into our intuition, because again, we may not see, hear, or feel things so black and white when we're with our client, but our intuition may be kicking in terms of what might be happening for our client and also for our clients as well. It's in this place of presence when we're both as partners truly present, we're going to potentially pick up things that we weren't even aware of. Perhaps the mirror imaging of what's happening between each other. Perhaps there's an image, perhaps there is some sort of metaphor that arises. So staying in this place of curiosity, deep presence allows, I'm going to use magic, to happen in terms of creating much greater expanded awareness. So it allows things to unfold that perhaps we never would have imagined.
It's so true. So, and if you're thinking about the end result as a coach, or getting your client to become aware of something, you will lose your presence. You will not be able to maintain your presence, because while you're trying to move the client somewhere, to give them something because they're paying for your service, and if as coaches we're focusing about getting the client towards the end of the session, or moving them somewhere in the session, or trying to force them to see something that maybe we see, we will lose our presence, because there's a part of us that's somewhere else. And actually, our full self needs to be with the client to have deep presence. We want to see this magnificent human being with all the glory that they offer, all of the dark places, all of the light places, all of the places that they could wander within themselves to create awareness.
Beautifully said, Marie. Thank you. And another part of being present with our clients is also managing our emotions, our own emotions as coaches. And of course, we are human beings. We, as a mentor of mine said, we are all skin bags full of emotions. And so we will absolutely, I trust, feel emotions as we are working with our clients, particularly in those moments of vulnerability, of being able to tap into really powerful moments. And those powerful moments may be things that bring up great emotion. It could be sadness, it could be anger, frustration, loss. It could be joy, it could be happiness, it could be love, it could be all of those things. And so when we're in this place of presence and deep trust and rapport, I trust that we will also experience what our clients are experiencing. And so it's not about, we believe it's not about pushing that away, pushing it down. It's being able to feel it as well and be able to have presence of mind to manage our emotions so that we don't fall in a heap, that we don't rush to our client to rescue, to, as a metaphor, give them a tissue to wipe away their tears. It's again being present to allow the emotions to flow and to really express them and feel them and to acknowledge those emotions with our client. So it's acknowledging our client's emotions, getting curious about their emotions. It potentially is also expressing that we are feeling that too, and holding the space. It's not about us, as we know, but letting the client know that we're with them, that we are empathic, that we're not in the hole with them. They may not be in the hole. As coaches, we might put them in the hole, but in this competency, it's being empathic. So we are. I've got my hands. If those of you who can't see the recording, I've got my hands together, level together. We are in partnership and holding space to be real, to be authentic, to be who we really are.
Love that, Jeanine. And in that authentic space, there is plenty of silence and pausing and time for the client to reflect on what's coming up for them. As you mentioned, not rescuing them. We allow them to stay with something that might appear uncomfortable to the observer, but actually they're processing something. So we all need time to process things. So the longer, the more space, the more slower it is, the more it allows the client to, for the unconscious mind to speak to the client and give them the answers they're looking for. That's the power of that space, that quiet space where nobody's interrupting, nobody's rescuing. Everybody trust the process of coaching and trusts that the client can handle whatever arises.
Yes, absolutely. And it takes me back to working in a situation in New Zealand where I was working with a group of Indigenous women, and there was an opportunity to coach with permission in the moment, with permission of the person that I was working with the group, inside the group. And in that opportunity, there was a moment for that particular client, to really go into a place of a really deep place of experiencing something that, and she took herself there, of a memory. And it was very difficult for her. But I held the space for her I really trusted her. I trusted that she would find the answers that she was looking for into that place that she brought into that particular coaching session. But there was lots of silence, and I felt like the whole room was holding its breath as she was taking herself to this place, which she knew was very difficult and it was very courageous work. But that space, it felt like it went on for a long time. But again, I trusted her. And so she was able to find what it is that she was looking for. And it was an amazing breakthrough that she found for herself as she went into that, what we call the cave of finding the treasure for herself. So when we unpacked it later, that coaching opportunity, she said to the group that when working with me, she said, I could feel, Jeanine, I could feel your trust in me. I could feel your faith. And that gave me the courage to do the work that I needed to do. And she was so grateful for that moment. That always stays with me, because it was such amazing work that she did. And it really gave me that confidence to trust my client, always trust my client, and not step in, not rescue when our clients are processing. So, and I guess that, yeah, go ahead.
Sounds very, very powerful coaching experience for both you and the client. And that tends to happen, doesn't it? It's a profound experience when you are witnessing another human being with themselves in sort of silent reflection, and then becoming aware of something that's important to them. It's a profound experience.
Yeah. And I wanted to share that because it also it taps into holding space, managing our own emotions, and also being confident with working with emotions. That's another part of this competency. So this competency also wants us as coaches to be confident to work with emotions. And yes, we totally appreciate that when we first start that work, it can be uncomfortable because we are going out of our comfort zone as coaches to support our clients. And not for everyone, but for many of new coaches, it can be, oh, I don't want to upset my client. I want to nurture them. I want to look after them. So, but actually when we support, and our work is all about supporting our client to go out of the comfort zone and to experience new awareness through not only thoughts, limiting beliefs, but also supporting our clients to understand their emotions.
It certainly is. And, I think one thing that's important to think about as a coach, if you aren't willing to go into your own cave and find the treasure, then you're not likely to support the client to go into theirs. Because if you haven't experienced what it's like to get your own deep awareness about your own stuff, then you perhaps have not experienced the depth that you're capable of being with. So as a mentor, some advice would be, go and do your own work, get your own coach, get a coach that is brave enough to support you to explore in those places that maybe feel a little bit difficult, feel a bit uncomfortable. Do it for yourself first, then you'll see how profound it is, how powerful it is, how it can create so many internal shifts that give you a totally new perspective on what you tend to bring to the coaching session right at the beginning. Because if you do it for yourself, then you're bound to do it with your client. And you and I, Jeanine, we've had some amazing experiences being coached and learning about ourselves and our own patterns and staying with things that are difficult. And that can be a great test and skill to build for yourself as a coach.
Yes, absolutely, Marie. And the more brave we are, the more we are able to, and the more work we do for ourselves, the more we have the confidence to do that for our clients. So it is so important that we do this work so that we can, the more we stretch ourselves, the more we're able to support our clients to stretch as well.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Jeanine. So important for us to recognize that. And so, in summary, we want to be comfortable working in a space of not knowing, allowing silence, being curious, trusting that whatever the client brings up, they can handle, and so can you too. Stay focused, empathetic, responsive to the client, the whole person, not just the thinking part of them, but the whole of them. And when we are maintaining presence, we really are focusing on the who of the client, not the what, not what they're going to do, but who they are being, what are they learning about themselves in your work together.
Beautiful. And, when I think about Batman, the curious cat, I feel curious about him. Oh, and look at that. He's meowing right on time. We don't speak the same language. So it's about being curious as a human being. And I'm sure he is too about me in terms of how we communicate to one another.
And you are so right. It sounds so much like a baby when he cries.
It is. And, he's trying to say something to me right now. Those ears are pinned back a little bit as I pick him up. So it's paying attention to those subtle clues to really understand, what is really here with our client and how we can support them. So coaches, enjoy this wonderful competency. The more we embody this, the more we are going to be able to serve and support our clients to bring out the best in themselves and their truth and their authentic selves.
Thanks for listening. You can find out more about us on our website www.empower-world.com and on our social media networks Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram and YouTube. Be empowered.